I have my limits. I only have 24 hours a day. I'm not a millionaire yet. And I'm also no Einstein. What I am, you're asking? Well, I'm only a 21-year-old student who's currently doing an internship and just recently started this channel. Sounds like a lot of work, right? So perhaps I'm not really able to move just forward from my education and to leave the things that make some money for myself behind. Welcome back, I'm Trev, and today I'll explain how sometimes we might feel really limited. You can call this scarcity mindset. The scarcity mindset describes a very strong and present feeling of not having enough, and that can be money, time, or connections, human connections. Having this belief of not having enough might make it very hard to move forward and may have you stuck in scarcity. Before we dive into the actual part of the video, I want to give a bit of a disclaimer. I'm not trying to talk about true scarcity today or something like poverty, where people are lacking the basic human needs. Today, when I'm talking about abundance, this abundance idea, this abundance mindset won't just remove your lack of basic human needs of food or, you know, of a roof above your head, but rather can give you some advice or some help on how to make decisions better and how to move on forward. It's basically a tool to make problem solving and also problem coping easier. How about we try to understand what this scarcity mindset is? Because I want you and me to understand it. Let's say you're facing a bit of a money shortage. Well, maybe naturally you're trying to figure out ways how to save money, but then focusing on saving money, I think kind of distracts you from making more money. This is just one example, and I want to make this video because I'm also facing this scarcity mindset from time to time and feel a bit trapped. So I made a bit of research and I'm trying to share that today with you. The first thing is, and we really have to understand that, focus is a limited resource. You only get to put your focus on so many things. It's not unlimited. When I first heard of scarcity around 2 years ago, I was back in some university course. It was actually portrayed to me as a positive thing, maybe as a way of branding yourself or of making things more desirable. And that instantly gave me this flashback of 2017 and all my classmates rushing through the toilet at 12 p.m. on a Thursday to buy the new Supreme drop. Well, obviously we're not talking about the same thing here. We're not talking about branding yourself, but rather about your mindset and your way of perceiving yourself. So here, scarcity is really not what you want. Perhaps you've also been in this situation before where you feel like, you need to rush a decision or something happened that didn't give you enough time to consider all the consequences, and you would have liked to consider it more but felt like you couldn't. Well, then scarce was the time that you had. And that is literally describing the scarcity mindset that you are carrying on in that moment and that your brain is used to. Having a sense of scarcity once or twice every now and then, that's not really a problem, because you might always be able to recover from a potential mistake or something that is happening that's not so favorable. However, if your mind is set to realizing your own limits and focused on your own limits, then it's very likely that it's happening more often, that you see your monetary or timely limits or whatever it is, education, love, and so on and so forth. And then you might actually feel that you're getting further away from the goal that you have. If you want to finish your studies, but it just feels like you're not smart enough, you will be focused on this issue and not on actually getting smarter or just studying. And that's where it gets really difficult, because you might start to feel really down and really stressed. That's not what you want, right? When I have this feeling of not giving enough or not being enough, what it means in my head is that my brain is set to those limitations, those scarce resources, whatever it is. And your brain literally starts working slower again. It takes more time to process things. And that, combined with your lack of focus, because you're focused on your limitations and not on your goal, that gets you really far away from where you want to be. And like, who's there to blame to feel less confident then? Sounds like it's quite hard to move on from here. And I'm gonna be honest, I've been at this point and I had no clue whatsoever what I'm supposed to be doing now. Like, you just feel demoralized. But it would also be pretty demoralizing if this video would just end here, right? Of course, I want to try to give you some advice and to also figure out for myself of what I can do if I feel like some scarce mindset. I actually think that social media kind of prompted me to make a move there and to try to get active. So I think I did a little bit of research, and I'd just like to share what I learned of how to move away from scarcity and rather move towards this thing called abundance. Here's what I found. This abundance mindset basically means to change everything and to switch the perspective of everything that is in your head. So you see a limit and you turn it into an opportunity. That sounds quite risky and quite challenging. Our brain is hit by dopamine every time we take a challenge, we take a risk, and we also complete it successfully. So if your your brain gets a dopamine hit once, you are kind of primed and you try to search for more of that dopamine. So you take more challenges and you will also get to the point of completing them successfully, which means more dopamine in your head. But it sounds quite hard to just take a challenge and then successfully complete it out of nowhere. Well, there's a bunch of steps I'd like to talk you through that will hopefully get you towards that point of the completion of challenges. Number one there is acceptance. And what that means is that you would kind of have to embrace your limitations. Right now, your head, and my head as well, is fighting against the limitations and is not willing to accept that we are limited and that we don't have infinite resources, infinite money, infinite time. If you understand where you are, you can also start moving forward. But therefore, it is just really important to accept that you are limited because you are just human after all. Number two is really important, and that's self-compassion. By understanding that everything you've done up to this point in your life and everything that I've done up to this point in my life, I've successfully gotten to the point here, which is, well, talking to a camera. So I've overcome my fear of not talking to a camera or of hitting upload. And that's already quite good. I can be proud of that. And every habit that I might be wanting to change now, or that you are looking to change, this habit was likely very important to you in the past. It helped you to survive, or it helped you to move forward as a child or as a younger self. So what you've done in the past is okay. And it's not like you've messed up your entire life. Give yourself some self-compassion. So number three, that one perhaps is a little more challenging, but it's really an important step in the process. And that is finding something you are abundant with. Well, abundance kind of just means that you are like plentiful equipped with that thing up to the point that it's almost limitless and it feels infinite. Perhaps you have a lot of money, but you're working all the time to get that money. That means that you are pretty abundant with money, or the other way around. You may not have that much money, but you have a lot of free time that you can spend. And it doesn't have to be money or time. It can also be something like love that you get, or education that you've had access to. If you find this one thing, that's kind of what you can set as a starting point, because you want to build a more general abundance, right? But realizing that you already are abundant in certain things is very helpful and will help you to move forward from your limits. Number four is defining abundance for yourself. Just like your limits are probably very specific and very personal, the thing that you would like abundance in can also be other things. It can be multiple things, right? Not everyone is striving for financial abundance or, like an infinite amount of time that they can spend on things they really enjoy. It may be that you're searching abundant self-love or, creativity, freedom, individualism, something like that. So it's really hard, not really hard, but really important for you to define what this abundance is. Where do you want to go? What is your goal that you're trying to reach? And also, which are the limits that you have that keep you from reaching this goal of abundance? All right, it's also important to realize that this is not a change from today to tomorrow, right? It's kind of playing the long game. So perhaps start small and go step by step. If what you want to reach is financial abundance, well, then you will reach that, but not from one day to the other. Not everyone can win the lottery, so set yourself more realistic goals, which also helps you with expectation management for yourself. And if you manage your expectations, you also manage your disappointment or your satisfaction. So take small steps. The final steps are ways for you to win more clarity, and that's mindfulness and journaling. We've talked about how the limits that you're feeling are keeping you from reaching your goal, and perhaps those limits have also been around a while. So you're kind of living in the past because maybe last year you started feeling that you don't have any time and that you're super stressed because you're just working the whole time. By practicing mindfulness through journaling and through meditation, for example, you can start living more in the moment and in the present again, because you can declutter your mind a bit and focus on the current state that you're in. Of course, you have moved forward or maybe also a bit backward since last month or last year. And practicing journaling and practicing mindfulness are two great ways to declutter your mind and focus on the exact point in time that you are in right now. It's actually quite funny that I'm bringing this up right now here. It's really hard for me as well, but I've already discovered a bit more the concept of mindfulness in a past newsletter article, because I personally feel like I'm quite a perfectionist and I often don't finish things because of the limits I set myself, or rather the standards I set really high. In case you're interested in that, how I kind of discovered mindfulness a little bit more, there's a link down below that you can just read for free. But I can really suggest it to you to get yourself a journal, maybe something like a nice book. You can get yourself a nice black covered book, take it everywhere, journal every day, and practice mindfulness maybe through meditation. This is what I found about abundance mindset, which is the opposite to the scarcity mindset and the limitations you have in your head and the limitations your brain then also puts out into your life. Of course, those couple steps that we just discussed on how to establish some abundance mindset in your head, those aren't a one-size-fits-all plan that you can just take and within a week you reach your point. Perhaps you can, and then I'm really happy for you. But it's more of a mindset shift that we're going through here, and it may need some work. Of course, it may need some work, but it's probably worth the work rather than working, against those limitations in your head. So accept them and then shift your focus on the things that you have and the things that you can build on and continue challenging yourself. But I'm curious because for me, time right now is very scarce, and I'm really trying to figure out how to bring everything together. As I said, my studies, my work, this thing here, private life, it's difficult. And well, I will also practice some of the things that I discussed today. Please drop a comment down below if you'd like and tell me what you are limiting yourself with right now, or what you feel like is keeping you from reaching your goals. I'd like to have a little chat about that in the comments. Right, I hope you enjoyed discovering this mindset concept with me. If you did, leave a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this or around the world of communication and self-awareness. I'm very happy that you made it to the very end. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.